we just barely had to make a move to see Gumball, and it's beginning to get a lot more apparent how to tell these deer apart. Gumball, it's really got some horns. Yeah, keep in mind that's his second, not his third set of horns. He's the same age as Forrest, and Forrest is having his second set of horns, but he's putting on a whole lot more than Forrest up there. He is a beautiful, typical 10-point. Horn sweeping forward, which is the way a lot of people like. They sweep forward and go down, you know, that outside tine that's going out there is G1s, they call them. The main beams are going out and they're just as far as his nose. You can see they're out there just as far as his nose. He's breathing pretty hard because we've had these 108-degree weather, but we've been able, through a variety of things. We bought some little organisms that we turn loose every month. They're supposed to go down into the dirt and kill the fly larvae so they don't become flies. We've got humeric acid that we put on the ground, and we've just done so many things to try to keep the flies down, and so far it's been pretty good, and we've been able to not lose hardly any deer at all this year, and we had real good success last year as well. You're going to lose some deer, that's just part of it, and especially when you're talking about heat indexes up in the 115 to 120 degree range. Cattle are actually dying here in Oklahoma because of that. And you know, it's not going to affect anything. Don't let them tell you that's why the cattle prices are going up, because it's such a minuscule percentage that dies. But Gumball is just a beautiful deer. You can see him there. He's panting a little bit hard, but he's real comfortable. His brow tines are long. They bend. And his main beams are probably, that may be what he has. Now, he may fork out there and have a little crab claw on the end of those. They've still got a little bit of a knot on them. But he is just pretty much going to be a typical 10-point, maybe a 12. But I think we're looking at 10-point. That's his second set of antlers. And, you know, hopefully we're going to keep him in here for some breeding purposes if we can keep him alive until breeding season this fall, which hopefully we can. And let him have some fun this fall with some does, and that we'll turn loose and let them have their babies out in the wild, and just absolutely fantastic what's going on here. But he is a beauty. That's Mr. Forrest's brother of some sort, probably by the same father. May not be the same mother, but probably the same father. And he's just absolutely gorgeous. So that's Gumball, and right close by, right behind him as a matter of fact, you can see the difference. Big mass, a lot more points, and they're still got balls on the end of them, which means they're going to turn into more. I've got Splitter over here licking on my arm at the time. She thinks I'm a salt lick. Look at that baby, how big that baby's become over there. That's a little buck, and that is Whitey's, another one of Whitey's boys. Just like little Whitey, that's another one of Whitey's boys. I think we got 8 or 9 bucks, and so if we can get real fortunate to wait until this fall to be able to turn those loose. We can grow them here in the pen until they get up big enough they'll be able to survive real well on their own. Some of them will stay right around the house here. Others will roam all over the ranch. We've got some really big ones running around on the ranch now that are like Gumball and Whitey and Forrest. And some of them are TCs. Some of them belong to Bazooka. Some of them belong to some of the other bucks that we've had. Bubba. Ooh. But anyway, look at the size of that deer. My gosh, I could just stand here and look at that pretty thing all day long. Whitey, little Whitey's up there, and he's becoming he's a girl's lover. That's what he is. You'll be proud of him. You sure would. Let's see if maybe we can get a really nice look at the Brotherhood, the boys in the yard. I think they probably are all here. They're kind of all scattered around. I see TC walking right there in the middle. I've just got a handheld right here this morning. It's really dead calm out here, so looking at these boys' antlers will be pretty easy, I believe. And Ot 6, I tell you can't help but love Ot 6. He just had a traumatic experience, but my gosh, what a deer he was going to be. What an incredible deer he was going to be. There is 2, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 points on that, and it's going to be more than that. He might have 9 or 10 points on that one side. This is his second set of horns. So is that impressive or what? And look how much he's grown just from last week. Ot 6, his old Ot 6 just shines there, his tag in his ear. his second set of horns. He was just going to be a tremendous buck, and he messed himself up, but he's beautiful. Look how big and beautiful and fat he is, and he's going to walk over here a little closer to me. There's my boy Forrest back there. I think that's Snoopy back there in the background, and there is TC right there. Look at TC. Will you look at TC? Is he going to be something? And they're still splitting. Those big knobs out on the end are going to split. There's my little baby girl right here beside me. She's so close. She was the baby that was so bad sick that had the big gourd up on her throat. Do you remember that? And she's tiny. She's tiny, and she's just so friendly. I can just about pet her, but not quite. She's just 3 or 4 feet from me right now. You can see how close she really is. I'll back up a little bit, and you can see she's just right here beside me. Probably within 4 or 5 feet at the very most. And they're waiting for me to throw a little feed. But this is really something. I'll throw some feed, and we'll take a little bit closer look at their antlers up close. This is the boys, the brotherhood, the boys at the house. Hi, Force, baby. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Is he special? Some of y'all were thinking he's going to be 10. I kept saying maybe 12. We'll see. Okay, guys. All right, big boys. Let's see what we have here in the... there's some girls out there in the background wanting to come in here. Let's see. Oh, no. Oh, no. The feeder's pretty low. Oh, no. The feeder is low. Look at here. How about a close-up look at a deer's eyeball? There's 06. Look at 06 over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's an 8 right now, and he's gonna be more. He might be a 10-point just on that one side. Okay, buddy. That's what you're talking about right there. There you go, pal. All right, guys, I'm gonna empty it out. Looky there, looky there. I'm gonna just empty it out because there's just not much in here. This feeder, of course, we got it throwing 3 or 4 times a day already. And plus, we come out here and throw additional feed to them. So they just have an awful lot of, we go through a lot of South Fresh feed here at the house in addition to all the South Fresh. It's on demand, totally on demand for the deer in the, the deer out in the pens. That we got plenty for everybody. Keep in mind, of course, I know my camera work's pretty shoddy right here, but I'm throwing feed. I'm not worrying about the camera work. I'm throwing feed. Where's your baby? Where's your baby, girl? Huh? You a big fat thing? I know you got a baby. I know you got to have a baby. What about you girls? You got your baby head out or the coat get them, huh? What about you girls? Okay. All right, let's take a closer look at the antlers with the brotherhood. Antlers with the brotherhood. All right, right here on top of us is 06. We've taken a closer look at him already, but you can see he's got 8 there already, and he's still got more to come. And anytime you see those knobs, those are going to split out. That is Snoopy right there, I believe. That is Snoopy. You can see what he's got with his second horns. They're very, very impressive. One side is not good, and that just happens, but the other side is going to be, well, it's right now, it's 5 or 6 points. It's going to be more than that on that one side, but the other side is not going to be good. Probably that's TC's boy. Maybe not, but probably. And that other little deer on the other side of him, of course, that's a doe right there, one of them. But the other deer on the other side of him, that's that deer's first horns. They're not very big. It's going to be a 6-point, a little small 6-point. But again, these deer have the genetics in them to really, 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 really change. This little deer over there is Snoopy. You can see he's still not going to be necessarily a prize, but by the time he gets up to 4 or 5 years old, if that can happen, time he gets up to 4 or 5 years old, he's going to be pretty impressive. He's going to be a looks like a little 8-point or maybe a little small rack 10. But then you take a look at my man Forrest. You see my man Forrest fills the entire screen up. Now he's close, there's no doubt about it. But you can see he's still got knobs out there. When you have knobs, that means those knobs are going to split into more. So he's really a 10-point right now, but he's probably going to be a 12, maybe even 13. But he's just really, 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 really big. The deer here at the house, this brotherhood of bucks is just an impressive little bunch of bucks to watch. My partner Steve says, "Well, you got them all tamed up, Jimmy." Well, you know, I told him, I said, "You can hunt any of these deers you want." He said, "Well, it wouldn't be hunting." Well, it probably wouldn't. We thought that TC would be incredibly wild when we turned him loose, because he was incredibly wild in the pen. You can see TC out there. Now, he's still got knobs out on the end of his. Now, TC's not had a lot of points. He's a typical deer. And you can see right there, he's really only got 7 points sticking up there. But you can see that they're gonna knob out. He's probably gonna be 10 or 11 or 12, just like he was last year. Just like he was last year. And but except a little bit heavier mass and a little bit wider. And he's getting up there kind of old. He's getting to the point to where his antlers are probably going to start turning and going the other direction. There's just going to be some impressive deer. This breaks my heart right here. This breaks my heart that he ruined that. But now this one side might get even larger because of, that's /6, and it might get even larger because of probably those knobs out on the end. All of those are probably still going to split. And what I say he had there, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 or 9 right there. He could have 4 or 5 more points on that side. So he'll be an something other than /6. Snoopy is turning into something over there. Snoopy, I believe, one of y'all told me you'd really been watching Snoopy, you really loved him, and you thought that was Snoopy, and I believe you're right. I think that's the one I think you were identifying as Snoopy, and I believe you're right. I think that is Snoopy. He's just become a lot more impressive, and the deer over there just absolutely incredible. That little deer buck right there, that's his very first horns, but just all of the boys are just doing magnificent. And Beamer's out here moving around, got them all a little cautious. Not much though, they're pretty used to Beamer. That, guys and girls, is the brotherhood. Okay, this might be the absolute biggest buck in the place. I mean, it might be, and he's coming up here. He smells carrots here. I've got carrots. And if you remember, I think it was maybe the last time I was doing this Antlers video in here looking at Prince Charming, that Snow White kind of went crazy on me, and I had a real bright colored shirt on that somebody said was probably scaring them. Somebody, Susan or somebody, Shelly or somebody suggested that maybe my voice, I was just being too loud. I need to be a little bit more quiet around her. Maybe I need to whisper when I talk to him. But you can see how close he is, and he's wanting a carrot. He can smell the carrots there in my bag. He can smell the carrots on my hands. He knows I've got them right here. And there we go. Now I want to also feed, and just we're in here looking at antlers, but I also want to feed Snow White also. He's just, I mean, his antlers are hitting the camera. I mean, that's just how close he is. I'm not zoomed at all. I'm right in on him. You can see all the blood shows up a lot better. That blood is there also on the other deer too, but you just look on there. I mean, he's probably going to have 5 or 6 points out there on the very tip end. And then he's probably going to be in excess of a 20-point deer. I mean, just an absolute prize. There's just no telling what you could sell this buck for as a buck to put on a hunting range where people would pay thousands and thousands of dollars to shoot this deer. Here comes Snow White. Looky there, baby. Come here, baby. Come here, Snow White. She was just afraid the other day when I was in here. There you go. Come on up here, baby. Come on. We're in a pretty tight area here. Of course, now we have some vegetables in here, too. Here's Snow White. Come here, baby. Come on. Here you go, baby. There you go. Yeah, that's a girl. Chris is up there on the porch watching all this. I don't know. She turned around and run off. And she come up here and ate right out of my hands. There you go, little guy. And then run off. There you go, little guy. You big enough to eat a carrot yet? There you go. There you go, princess. I can't. Here, come here. Here, I got some for you. I still got some for you. I just want to make sure Snow White gets some too. He said, she's always getting them. She's always getting them. What are you talking about? She's always getting them. I got a full pound for you guys. That's right. Snow White, if you want to come over here, I'll feed you some. Come on, baby. Here, Snow White. Here, baby. Come here. Come here, baby. Come here. Oh, she's finding them laying on the ground. Come here, baby. Come here. Boy, their noses are really something in there. Come here, Snow White. Come here, princess. Come here, baby girl. No, she doesn't want to. You know, she might be just a little bit being pretty skittish because of being. Looky here. How about you? How about you? He's like Beamer. He just takes them so gently. How about that, buddy? Is that good? This is kind of funny, isn't it? Feeding my baby Forrest. Feeding my baby Forrest through the fence from the inside. You want in here? You'll want in here this fall when that girl gets smelling right, won't you? Isn't he such a pretty deer? And then there comes, there comes, you come back out. I don't have many left. That's it. That's it. All right. Okay.